We we should mention that this is the same episode where Mick Foley does his sit down interview. He starts his sit down interview with Jim Ross. Of course, it's going to be a series of interviews. And at the end, he's going to attack Mick, but somehow along the way, or Mick's going to attack JR, but somehow along the way, Mick becomes a baby face. I don't think anybody maybe could have predicted this would have become as big of a deal as it was. But this really helps sell and cement Mick Foley as a performer to Vince McMahon, does it not?
This was the introduction of Mick Foley.
Yes.
And nobody expected the way the audience would take him and the sympathy that Mick would get from the audience. It was magnificent, to say the least. So, you don't necessarily have a sympathetic character there in Jim Ross in the way that Jim was asking the questions. He was being that reporter that sits down and asking those uncomfortable questions. And when he would get a vague answer, would push a little bit harder. So, Jim was great in this interview because he was like, okay, man, I understand, but let me dig a little bit deeper. Let me get a little bit more. So what you're saying is, you ate the worms and you liked them. Yeah, nobody likes to have worm breath. You think girls want to kiss somebody with worm breath? It was masterfully done, and my hat's off to Jim and Mick, because the two of them were magic, doing this and putting it all together. And it was real. It felt real. Just got a lot of sympathy on Mick after that, and it was the introduction of Mick. All that this audience had ever seen was Mankind
and Cactus.
This audience hadn't seen Cactus.
Well, that's fair.